Trunter. Oh, this could be an opening. The man wants to have the opening. It's Lawrence Sheffield. That is the moment. The moment of matters.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Hearts and Sleeves podcast. It's a podcast all about Heart of Midlothian Football Club, its fans, and the ups and downs we experience on the way. Before recording today, I put a message into the group chat asking what positives we could maybe bring into this podcast today. The ones I got back were Hibs are shite, don't have to travel to Kilmarnock again this season, Magnuson looked decent until he broke his cheek, and Kurjota looked decent in his usual 5-second cameo. We might be able to come up with some more. You never know. We'll find out over the next hour or so. And joining me to do that is Trunter. He's back again. And we've got Adam. John won't be here today because he's away celebrating his partner's birthday. So many happy returns to her. Trunter, how are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thanks, mate. Just wolfed down my dinner in time to get here for the pod. And as is a recurring theme, I've managed to stick something in my eye, so I've got a sore eye. So if I've not got a sore eye next week for the pod, then I feel that's kind of like a weekly bit that I've failed you on. So I'll make sure to jab myself in the eye with something this time next week.
Appreciate it. And to be honest, jabbing something in my eye is exactly what I want to do around sort of 9:30 on Saturday night for reasons we will certainly cover in a bit of detail later on. Adam, how was your weekend?
I was all right. Me and Trunter were planning to go to the Killie game, but then there was like travel issues at the last minute, so turned out to be a bit of a blessing in disguise. I think that we missed the game. Because I'd actually been really looking forward to it. I felt confident going into it. So yeah, luckily I didn't end up in Kilmarnock getting home at like 1 a.m. So yeah, instead I watched the game at home.
I mean, that would have been a properly grim trip back. That wouldn't have been with
Yeah.
all the train issues, and apparently it's all kicking off because it always does when we play shite. So yes,
Yeah,
bullet
was
dodged, I think.
I was imagining the journey home because normally those journeys home are all right when you've won, but particularly with Central Station and everything being shut, I think it was probably a bit of luck in the end that we didn't go.
Well, let's avoid talking about the game for a bit longer and go straight on to our quizzes because why not? Trunter and me will be doing them today. I'll start today and I'll be doing the two ex-Hearts players that played for another club and the two that I've gone for two Hearts legends, Kevin Twaddle and David Whitteven. Or Whitteven, I should say.
Yeah, I was going to say, what?
Morton.
I'll try it again. Fuck's sake, Adam. Before I could even correct my pronunciation of Whitteven, you've got the correct answer. It was Martin.
Amazing. I remember him being at Morton. That's it. I don't remember Twaddle.
Yeah, he had.
But that was the only one I could think of that could be right.
He had 46 games, Twaddle. I managed to score 8 goals for them. Whitteven. I always thought he was Dutch. I didn't actually. I don't know how I've gone this long without realizing he's actually Italian. I assumed he was Dutch. Yeah. It says so. He's born in Italy, but he's considered Austrian. Things you learn on Wikipedia. Would you like to learn a little fact about Kevin Twaddle?
Love
my
to.
My sister went on a couple of dates with him.
Hey.
So there you go.
He's a podcast guest.
Well,
Yes.
yeah. He's he's 54 now. I didn't actually realise how old he was, Kevin Twaddle. I mean, he's not old, but I kind of thought he was our age for some reason.
Well, he was around. He came on in the 5-1 derby, if I remember right, when Mark De Vries got 4. Did he not come on as a sub? He was.
You're right. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
really good bit of knowledge
'cause
here.
yeah, and he wasn't very good at us because I remember him mainly at Motherwell. Because funnily enough, Chris, who was on the podcast, the Motherwell fan earlier this season, he suggested getting Kevin Twaddle on because he's a Hearts fan,
Hmm.
and he's spoken about mental health and I think like gambling addictions and stuff like that.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I've got so he actually would be someone that's probably quite interesting to have on the podcast. But no, I remember him from the kind of Craig O'Veen the first era, but he wasn't very good at us. Don't think he played many games.
Well, I think you might have just ruined your chances of getting Kevin on after saying that.
I don't
Uh,
think he would mind me saying that.
yeah, I mean, look, he didn't manage to score a goal for us, which is, yeah, not. He had 8 appearances and no goals, and yeah, I think he'll admit himself he didn't have a great time. I think he's really chuffed that he actually got. I mean, this is from what memories of the time. I'm pretty sure he's delighted by the fact he actually got to play for Hearts, but obviously
Oh, I
just
would be too. Yeah. So I'm not gonna criticize too much.
yeah. Here, Kev, if you're listening, come on. There's always space for you here on Hearts on Sleeves podcast. Yeah, so there you go. Well done, Adam. Trunter, have you got a quiz for us?
I do. Hopefully, it's a wee bit longer than that one. So I've got a wee one that's I've got 5 Hearts players of very. I think the furthest back is about the year 2000. I was going to keep it a bit more current, but I've just decided to go for a wee bit of a scattergun approach over the last 20 something years. So it's like a work out the player based on their career history, one of those ones.
Sounds good.
So I'm gonna start saying clubs, and then you can just shout out who you think it is. The closer I get, I will also mention where Hearts came within that, and it might start making. I found it made sense
So it's
more in
like
my head.
chronological order, basically.
Chronological order, yeah.
Okay.
So number 1, I'm going to start off. He started at Sheffield Wednesday, went to Bury, Accrington Stanley, Gillingham, us, Oxford United, Burton Albion, Charlton Athletic, Wigan, and is currently at Leyton Orient.
I'm not gonna get this one as quickly as the last one.
Haha.
I can't. Nothing's even in my mind at all.
I thought these would be. Obviously, I looked someone up and then kind of wrote it. So I knew the answer. Duh. But I thought when I
Eh,
started the quiz, I was like, nah, this will be quite easy. But looking back on it, it's rock solid.
Can you say the clubs
Ste-
again?
is it Stephen Humphrey?
No.
No.
Good
So
guess.
it's a current player. He's at Leyton Orient just now.
Yeah.
When he left us, he went to Oxford. And
Oh, Sean Clare.
yes, well done.
Oh, well done. I always quite liked Sean Clare,
So did
Yeah.
I. Yeah.
He had like a bit of a yeah, he went through a bit of a phase where it wasn't too good, but then I think he came onto a game actually. Good penalty
Yeah.
taker as well, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was definitely something there, and I think he was. I always thought he'd find his form a bit, but that was a. I mean, that was a wonky season, wasn't that? Like 2020.
Yeah, it must have been around the
Yeah, it was
COVID
round
time,
about
right?
then, wasn't it?
Next one is a Frenchman who joined us late-ish in his career, but he started in Strasbourg, then off to not Bologna but Boulogne in France, then played for Brussels, followed by White Star Bruxelles, and then the world famous Fréjus Saint Raphael, Bourg Persona, and then joined us after having played at Cardiff. Left us for Le Mans, and then looks to have finished up his career fairly recently at Versailles. Another one that I always felt may have done more for us, but kind of didn't really.
Went to Cardiff after us. That should be a big enough clue.
No, Cardiff before us.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Went to was at Cardiff before us.
So I think that's probably why we expected him to be a bit more.
And you said he was a bit older by the time he came to us.
Yeah, not massively old, but he was certainly in the sort of twilight-ish of his career.
Can we get a
He
position?
went on. Yeah, he's a midfielder. He went on loan to Le Mans from us. He only played for us 18 times. French fella. 2019 to 2022, he was at Hearts.
I'm going to use my I was in London excuse for this one.
Uh-huh.
Damore, or
Yeah, that's him.
yeah.
Loic Damour.
I totally don't remember him coming from Cardiff. I've never got it, to be honest. I actually barely. I don't know how many times I would have seen him live. I mean, remember the name, but I couldn't. I've totally forgot he was at Cardiff, to be honest.
Yeah, he was one of those that he played 18 times for us in the league, but he just never seemed to kind of kick on, despite the fact that well, I don't know. Something about French midfielders, I'm always like, oh, he's going to be amazing. But
Random French players that I got excited by, Dylan Bikey. I remember when he joined that, I was like excited by him, but
Sterling Albion or something he came from. He scored
yes.
tons for them. And
I don't know if he's. I mean, I know he's like relatively prolific, but yeah, I just had this super.
went back to them, maybe. I don't know.
I think he probably ended up there. Yeah.
Did he actually play for us at all? Like, did he actually play a game? I don't even remember.
I can't remember if he did or not. But yeah.
Anyway.
We digress.
number 3 is a striker who's still playing, and he started his career at Tranmere Rovers. Then on to Vauxhall Motors, a couple times on loan, followed by loans to Southport and Morecambe. Again, 2 loans to Morecambe, and then he came to us in 2017 to 2018, and he left us to join Carlisle. Back to Tranmere again. A brief loan at Wrexham, and then a pretty long 4-year spell at Morecambe again. Then he was back to Burton, a wee loan at Barrow, and is currently playing for Salford City.
Salford City. I feel like we spoke about someone recently that played for them.
0 league goals in 12 league games for Hearts, 2017 to 2018.
Was it permanent he was at us? Not a loan?
It was 1 year permanent.
Okay.
We
I
actually
feel like
signed him from Tranmere. He just had shitloads of loans before that.
the Salford thing's making me feel like I should know it, because I feel like
Can you give us position?
forward.
Striker.
Right?
That's a tough one. Or again, either it's tough or we're just terrible at this. It means we don't have to talk about Kilmarnock at least.
I'm really, really enjoying that we're not talking about Kilmarnock. Yeah.
That's why we're taking so long. Me and Jamie knew them all instantly, but we just thought we'd drag it out a bit. At least what's good about this game is we're chucking out lots of guesses, you know.
In his brief time at Hearts, he criticised methods and dressed in black as Mr. T. And his first name starts with C.
Right, so.
Oh, Stockton.
That's the fella.
Well done.
It's just
Did you guys?
That's literally.
I didn't know anything about the Mr. T thing. I don't know how I would have missed that one.
No, I've never heard of that. Never heard of that. I literally got it from the sea, to be honest. Yeah, it was endless clues about all the clubs and everything, and then just saying the first letter. That's how it. You're like, oh, he looks like this. He played this. This is every match he played in, and I'm like, nope, no idea. Starts with a C. Oh, obviously, Cole Stockton.
Adam, actually, that reminded me of you know how much we love to drop in a Father Ted reference. That reminded me of the one where he's like, "Oh, come on, Dougal, you must remember, you're in the helicopter,"
yes.
and then he's like, "You're wearing the red jumper." Ah, yes.
Yeah, and it goes on for like 5 minutes. Was it not like one of the sisters was there at the time?
Yeah.
Was it actually that's how he knew the sister? that's the last time he saw her or something.
Yes, that was it. That was the one.
So this is a bit of a legendary one. This is a centre back sort of defensive midfielder. This fella started off at Pau with loans to Kavala and Kirkiria, then came to us, left us for Ammonia, Apoel, Apollon Limassol, Skoda Xanthi, Platanias, and Lamia. Think.
I'll repeat it.
Yeah, there you go. Feckin' Greeks.
Ah, shite.
It's really the position
Well
and
done.
the nationality was about it. He was decent.
He was decent.
Yeah, he was really good. I think it's like looking back on these, I really should have it would have been a much snappier quiz to just batter through with a few fairly well-known ones. Number 5 is a little. I'm just gonna look him up again so I make sure I've not got any of my deets incorrect. But this is one that I would have got pretty quick anyway. So at Hearts, 1991 to 2001, but you are going to get this one. Started at Meadowbank Thistle, then went to Newcastle United. On to Dundee United.
Oh, Darren Jackson.
Yeah, there you go. Didn't even need to get to they who shall not be named.
I can get Darren Jackson, but I can't get Cole Stockton. Well, actually, I'm not disappointed about not getting Cole Stockton until the end. But yeah.
So the reason I wanted to put Darren Jackson in there is because I've bizarrely seen him play. So I didn't go to a lot of football as like a youngster, but I saw him play for Hibs at Easter Road in, I think, one of those very, very early for me games where I'd gone for like a friend's birthday with a bunch of Hibbies. But I remember seeing him also play for Hearts, which is just a wee rando trivia bit.
You really should have completed the Edinburgh trilogy and seen him play for Meadowbank as well.
I know, right?
I wasn't even born when he played for them. I just looked him up now.
Way to make us all feel older, Adam.
What was the score?
You won, Adam.
You pumped him 4-1.
Yeah.
I knew what the score was. I just had to ask.
Yeah.
I need to win something this week, right after the Killie match.
Oh fucking hell! That was just the like shit flavored frosting on a arse cake of a week for me. That whole fucking fiasco. Sorry. Yeah, good, great fun, happy week. That was. Let's just banish it from memory.
Well, we can delay talking about it a wee bit longer because I do want to mention that the Scotland squad was called up this week. No room for Craig Halkett or Harry Milne. Why include the Premiership's top team, any players associated with them? Instead, there's players like Hanley and Hayam. Yeah, me neither. All getting, and even Kieran Bowie, right? Obviously, we don't have any love loss for him, but you'd expect him to still get in. But there's folk like Finlay Curtis actually got in, as did Tommy Conway. I don't know. Look, for us, it's I do want to touch on it because for us, it's probably actually a good thing that there's no Hearts representatives there. But I do feel bad for Halkett and Milne. What do they have to do? The two standout players this season. As far as defensive side of things goes in the Scottish Premiership, but he still can't get a look in.
I think that's why it's pissed a lot of Jambos off. It's not so much. I mean, we'd be worried about like Hawks and Milne going out, maybe getting injured and stuff. But I think it's literally that. What the hell do they actually have to do? I mean, you've got. I can't remember the last time that Nathan Patterson for Everton actually played. I mean, you put Harry Milne in the squad for him, like surely any day of the week. I think it's the fact that he's going to stick with his pals. Because I can't think of any other reason that Grant Hanley gets in there in front of Hawks. I think that's mental. Just that one alone is fucking nuts.
I mean, I feel especially bad when you look at their age. Like it's they're like 29, 30 years old, and
Yeah.
they're not going to have they're not going to have another chance to get into a World Cup squad. They're not going to have a huge amount more chances in terms of their career for Scotland, and like it must be so demoralising where you think no matter what I do, I'm just not going to get a look in. And yeah, I mean we're top of the league. I can't. I feel more gutted for them than I do for anything else. Because, like Jamie said, it probably helps us that they're not in the squad. But you've got to be gutted when you're top of the league and you're having a good season and you don't even get into a friendly squad. It's just, yeah, soul destroying for them.
Yeah, I think so. Like the thing as well, I thought there was like randomly, Facebook posts or Twitter or whatever. The first the first names that seemed to be mentioned, I was kind of scanning down, looking to see if folk were talking about any Hearts players, and all the first ones they were talking about. Oh, why is Shanklin not in the squad? He's injured. And there was folk with like Hearts as their profile picture, and they weren't mentioning Halks and stuff. And I just thought, are you not? I mean, I'm pretty bad for watching the full games, but I mean, Christ, pay attention.
Yeah. It's also just puzzling to me that, Suter, I mean, even Rangers fans would say he's not had a particularly great season. He's still getting in there. Lennon Miller, I know he's midfield, but still, I mean, he's barely had a look in for Udinese. It just seems that he's always just going to stick with who he knows. Actually, having said all this, I did notice that Clark was watching the Hearts Killie game. So I kind of don't. If that's the only time he's really seen us, I don't blame him for not picking any of the Hearts squad. But
I'm sure he said he was looking at someone, but it was someone for Killie. I can't remember who it was. I mean, I know he's obviously got Curtis, but I think he
yeah,
actually might have been mentioning that he'd been told to take a look at Curtis. So that's why he was up there. But
that makes sense.
I could have fucking. I'm still not over the Hulks. Hanley.
Ugh, Hanley's the worst one. That's just, yeah.
It's bizarre, is what it is. But anyway, good for us, I think. Anyway, so let's do it then. Let's move on to the Kilmarnock game. Lineup wise, I don't think any of us had any complaints. Last week we were saying, same again, and that's exactly really how the team lined up. It was very much same again for us. No changes. Obviously, one of the big things was that McEntee came back into contention. However, he was on the bench. What were your thoughts ahead of this game, Trunter? How were you feeling?
I'd had a stinking week, and I was meant to be going up for the game. Stuff just started falling apart, and do you know, there was just something in my mind for the last couple of days. I was like, I feel like we're going to get gubbed. And I'd seen Neil McCann fairly recently, and it was almost like that black cat walking across your path type thing.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I don't know. So I felt oddly negative about it the closer we got to the game. But I think it. Do you know what it's probably is as well? It's we're really getting close to the end now, and I keep saying it. It's the hope that kills you. The closer we get, I was just thinking, oh fuck's sake, I just think we're going to lose this one. But I don't think. Obviously, we weren't great, but I think Killie were really good.
Yeah.
Just going to get that in there.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good point to make, is that that's kind of getting overlooked, isn't it? They had a decent game plan, well, one that clearly worked for them. Bit of hoofball, but it just seemed to work really well for them. And, credit where it's due. It did play out well for them. I don't know, I just kind of got this bad feeling for some reason after watching the Celtic game. When they went one up, Motherwell, when they went one up, I was absolutely buzzing. But as soon as Celtic came back and ended up winning 3-1, I don't know, I just had this, feeling of gloom, feeling of that something bad might happen in the Killie game. How are
I
you
get you.
feeling? Yeah,
It's that
sorry.
foreboding, wasn't it?
Exactly that, foreboding. That's the word I'm looking for. But you know what? Right, I'm skipping ahead to what I was going to sort of kind of round things off with. But you know, how many times have weekends gone our way? This is a weekend where it just didn't go our way, but we can't complain too much. Of course, we can complain about the performance and everything, but generally, you know, just the other weekend, Hearts won and Celtic and Rangers drew is exactly the kind of weekend we hope for. This just was the opposite, and it's going to happen here and there. And who's to say next weekend things won't go our way again?
I think what worried me a bit more this time though was we'd lost the last two away games.
Mm,
So, we've lost three away games in a row, and this one just felt a little bit harder to take
hmm
because it's a bit of a pattern now, like losing to St Mirren and Killie. I thought they were both like similar kind of defeats, the Killie and St Mirren one. Sorry, the Killie and St Mirren games. And it's concerning as well, like, that our record against the bottom six. I mean, I think it's good that our record against the top six is the best in the league, and obviously we're going to be in the top six, and that's what's going to really matter. But it seems like we've struggled against the bottom six,
hmm.
um, and I don't know if it's just something about our style of play not suiting that type of opposition. But unlike you guys, like I went into that thinking we were going to win. But it was one of those games like we've had it before a couple of times this season where you just kind of know, early on it's not going to be a simple kind of victory for us. So yeah, my confidence went pretty quickly into that match, I've got to say.
I'm also going to mention this now. It's worth looking back to when Celtic played them at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock went into that second half 2-0 up, and Celtic only won it with a 97th minute winner. So it's
Yeah.
not the easiest place to go to, and you know I do want to just put that out there. Say yeah, it was a bad result, but any team is capable of not doing particularly well at Rugby Park. And look, if we're going to have a performance like this, I would rather we just have it now. Out of all the places, it doesn't kind of surprise me. It was at Rugby Park, and it does. There's we've got people coming back, which will help us, but also hopefully this is kind of the kick up the arse that the team needed. Maybe they were, I don't know, the whole performance, it just, we lacked a certain something. There just wasn't an energy. There was just a lethargy. There was inaccuracies with the play. I don't know if that's a plastic pitch. I don't know if that was, just they were supposed to go on holiday to Dubai. Maybe they're all looking forward to that, and that affected things. There was just something about the way the whole team played, and maybe getting a rock up the arse like a loss is exactly what they needed. I'm put. I'm doing that thing again, am I now? Where I'm trying to turn a negative. I'm trying too hard to turn a negative into a positive, but I do think there's aspects to this loss that Derek McInnes can use actually, and it's not something that's totally out of the blue. Yes, the quality of performance was a real dip from the Aberdeen game, but it's a difficult place to go, and I do want to just kind of highlight that.
Yeah, it's fair. I think for me, there was one thing that was really highlighted when we're talking about injured players. For me, one of the biggest differences was pretty clearly we didn't have Cammy and they did have Chibola. He was
Mm.
everywhere. He was doing the kind of Cammy role, and I just thought that's something they've got that we're lacking. A bit of fight and a bit of like. So again, that's circumstantial. That's an injury to one of our key players, kind of highlighted there. He'll be back. Any news on the Magnuson injury?
It sounds like he's going to be out for a while, doesn't it? A
It's
few
a
weeks, is it?
fractured cheekbone, I think it was. I don't know if it's a concussion though, as far as I'm aware, which actually is quite good news because they've got the concussion protocol.
Yeah.
There's been no mention of concussion as far as I can see. You quite often see players wear masks, so you might have a mask Magnuson. coming back in. But yeah, that kind of might answer the problem of who drops out when Devlin comes back, right?
Yes, yeah, but he's been good, so
He
Yeah,
has been good.
I think Magnuson's turned into a key player, and
Mhm.
him getting injured was a big blow in that match because he looks really capable of attack. You know, I think he looks like he just looks good in attack as well. I would say, and I think once he went off, I think we struggled even more. I also think obviously getting Shanklin back, hopefully for Dundee, is massive. I think we've lost 3 games since Shanklin's been out. He was only out for what, 8 games. We lost 3 of them, so that kind of shows. And Devlin as well, obviously.
Mm.
We did say, like, I remember, you got to remember when Shanklin and Devlin got injured. Like, obviously, very close to each other. They went out. Everyone was devastated, thinking we were going to do awful, and not awful, but you know what I mean. Everyone thought it was going to be incredibly difficult, and I guess it has turned out to be difficult. And you know, we've been without probably our 2 best players, so you just got to hope getting Shanklin and Devlin back is surely going to give us a big lift. Because I think, as important as Devlin is, I just think having no Shanklin has been massive in terms of our form in recent weeks.
yeah.
On a positive note, I'd say like Altona, I thought when he came on made a difference. I mean, I'm sure we're going to obviously preview the next game, but Altona coming on made a difference. That was one of the positives for me, and I think, yeah, maybe we'll see him against. I think we'll see him against Dundee, and maybe we'll start using him a little bit more, given obviously Steinvender's made another mistake. Because I mean,
So
I don't know
yeah,
what he was doing at the goal. So yeah,
yeah. I mean, let's just skip right to that then, because so Steinvender, McInnes talks about him being more reliable in the defensive side of things. He's been culpable for 2 goals that I can think of in recent games, including this one, for not tracking. It wasn't actually his man, but he should have been aware of Shawning Larson, and he just kind of stood looking, yeah, looking about like he didn't really know what was going on. So yeah, McInnes keeps on bringing Steinvender back in because he keeps on citing his defensive side. Now, if we're losing goals and he's to blame or partially to blame for the defensive side of things, then why are we keeping in? I'd much rather have a player in who's capable of creating goals, such as Altina. Yep, there might be defensive lapses, but we're getting that without, you know, the without the positive aspect of someone who's trying to create and score goals. So yeah, we're kind of going straight ahead to the Dundee game here, but I would absolutely bring Altina in for it. What were your thoughts on that goal, Trunter?
Um, well, pretty much what you said, to be honest. But I mean, you got to give them credit though. That was a hell of a cross from Kiltie, and Shawning Larson flying in there. Good. I mean, yeah, I think Steinvender at fault, but I'm just rewatching it again. I was actually trying to pronounce the guy's name, but yeah, it was a pretty good goal. Steinvender just kind of let him go, but yeah, get Altina in. It's not really working with Steinvender at right back, so stop trying it, I think.
it's just, I mean, the fact that he's just left to score there. I don't know what Steinbender. I just do not know what Steinbender was doing.
Yeah,
Like
he's
he's just
nowhere, is
strolling
he?
about.
Aye.
It's doesn't like it can be a good cross all you like, but to have a striker there with just a tap in, like that's the kind of goal you might expect. You know, late in the game when the game's already over, you've already lost. I just can't believe so early in the game he's completely free in the box to tap it in the net from across.
Mm.
That should not be happening. I'm not going to start saying Steinbender's terrible because you know he has had really good performances as well.
Yeah,
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he certainly had a couple of big mistakes, and that was for no one to get, for no one to come back and even. I don't know. I'm just stunned. I'm stunned that there was a tap in like that from across because I mean that's just whether it's a good move or not. I think defensively that's just really, really poor, and one of the worst goals we've conceded in terms of the defence for me. And I think McInnes will change it against Dundee. I really think he will bring in Altona because I think it's time to give him a start.
It's a perfect kind of game for Altena to come into as well. I think he's the ideal kind of player to play up against Dundee. Look, I had no qualms or issues with Steinvender starting because he was very solid. I do want to give credit where it's due. He was very solid against Aberdeen, but yeah, his frailties were there on show in that game. Just the fact that he didn't really create much or anything as well. Whereas I feel like Altena created more in the 35 minutes he was in the game compared to the whole 55, 60 minutes that Steinvender was in it. We did have a penalty shout. It should have been a penalty. We were saying at the time that if it's gone down, it would have been a penalty. So this is Braga. He kind of got clipped and he stumbled, but he managed to recover. But we can't be asking him to dive. This is just, we're trying to get rid of diving in the game, right? So why wasn't it called for a penalty? It's quite clearly a foul, even though he tried to carry on. Why is it not being called for a penalty? Why is VAR not picking that up?
Yeah, exactly. It just shows you why players will dive. I mean, you've got it just doesn't pay, I guess, to be honest in that situation when you're the striker, which is total madness, particularly by having VAR is shit in so many ways that when it could be used for stuff like that, why not? I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, and the message is you have to dive. It's just crazy. I mean, obviously, it was 100% a penalty, and I think it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter if he goes down or not. They should just be given the penalty. I actually thought Braga was one of the better players against Killie. I actually thought he was decent, to be honest. So I'd give him some credit because I think some of our more like reliable guys like Harry Milne struggled a lot more. But I thought Braga had a good game compared to most of them. And I thought he was obviously incredibly unlucky not to get that penalty. And in fairness, had we got the penalty, the game could have been totally different. I'm not going to complain about the result, but I feel like if we'd scored, it could have been different. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think if we have Shanks instead of Kabori there, I think we win that game. Braga was doing his thing, but he needed a bit of help, I think.
I feel we do have to talk about Kabori.
Kabori seems to be one of these players that he's either good or bad, and you
Yeah, totally.
you seem to know straight away. Because I know he had a chance missed against Aberdeen, but I thought he did well against them, and
He
he set up
recovered well, didn't he? Yeah.
he did brilliant to set up the goal, and he's had decent games, but when he's off it, he just seems to be totally off it. It's a strange one. I don't think he's he certainly doesn't seem like he's the answer at the moment.
It does make me more frustrated that we didn't get another striker in the winter window. Now it's difficult because I have been here in the past couple of weeks saying, actually, you know what, Braga and Kabori need a bit of time. We should give them patience and everything like that. But at the same time, performances like that one, we can look all across the team, and you're doing well if you can pick out more than 3 players who got pass marks for it. But Kabori really just he stuck out as one of the really, because he just it was genuinely Bambi on ice, wasn't it? At times, I just don't get how he just continually seems to slip up. Like, what is going on there?
Yeah, and you can't even blame the surface because it happens on grass as well.
Yeah,
I just don't know. Another thing I'd say is like it's a bit frustrating that you've brought in Mato, for example, and you're not seeing him at any point in the match. You're bringing on Frankie Kent, but you're not bringing on Mato. I'm not going to you can't really criticize McInnes too much, but there are these guys that come in like Mato who just never seem to play,
yeah.
or like Kurjata. I would have started Kajata at some point by now. Like, I just feel
Yeah,
like there's some of these new guys that never. Every time Kajata comes on, he seems like he's got a brilliant cross. I know he's lightweight, but like, I don't know what it takes for guys like him to get a start. And personally, I think, like alongside Altona, I'd like to see Kajata get a game as well at some point soon. Um, but yeah, and then you've got guys like Mato who are just not getting a minute in that game, and it's like it's a bit concerning that he's not seen as an option when we're 1-0 down.
I know that Killie they set up they were typically a more narrow team, and they had a bit setups. They had a bit more width in this game to try and compensate for the fact we'd be lofting, going down the wings and lofting balls in. But that kind of was part of our game plan, which is fine. But it just wasn't working with the players we had. So exactly why did we leave it till the 81st minute to introduce Kurjata, and even just with his brief 10-minute cameo,
Yeah,
you saw probably one of the best crosses of the entire game. Yeah, he's a player. I'm like yourself. I would have liked to have seen more from him in this game and just more in general. But
yeah.
there wasn't much happening in midfield. McEntee didn't offer anything really. Spittle had a poor one, so we had to try and do something because I don't think we've really got much options in the middle of in midfield. So we really needed to have, Leonard wasn't producing much either. So we needed to do something on the wings. So why wait till the 81st minute to really do that? I guess Chesnikov did come in for the second half in place of Kabori. Not a great surprise to see Kabori come off. Chesnikov, would you say he was one of those players who potentially got pass marks?
I don't remember him doing. I don't really remember him doing a lot, to be honest with you. I don't remember thinking he was awful or anything, but I don't really. He doesn't stand out to me as having come on and made a big impact.
Hmm. He was, yeah, he was fairly ineffective, but I don't think did a huge amount wrong compared to
Yeah,
other players. I think would be the best way to put it. I think as far as the team goes, that is a bit of a compliment. It's funny because I do think we played better in that second half, but we really probably created better chances by and large in that first half. I don't know if that was potentially down to Magnuson being in midfield and being able to provide something from there. But yeah, it wasn't working for us. How would you do things differently if you had this game again, Trunter? What do you think would be the key changes you'd make to this team? You've got the benefit of hindsight. Where did things go wrong, and how would you fix it?
I wouldn't start Kabori and I wouldn't probably start Steinwender. I'd give Altona a chance to give us something going up that side. Um, I think I feel a lot of times when you get Kabori and Braga starting, it's it's like McInnes is trying to sort of shoehorn in another striker because he's had such results with Shanks and Braga, but it isn't the same thing. And I feel like when we were talking about some of the guys that he's brought in, we've got kind of like a lot of like wing slash forwards, and I still feel Kabori's he's not that sort of. I think we probably should have tried to sign some sort of cheaper option, like almost like a B-Tech Shanks from somewhere, like a bit more of a hold-up man, and then you've still kind of got the same system because I just there's little elements that aren't quite working, and but like for me, like the Kabori one, and not starting Kajata, I'm with Adam on this one. I think Kajata needs to be getting on because he is looking he's looking good when he's on. I don't understand why he's not getting more chance to shine, but yeah, the defense just didn't quite have it right. And yeah, there's just something I don't like about trying to keep going with Kabore because he's not a replacement for Shanks.
I don't think we need to spend too much longer on this game, to be honest. Any final words on this performance, Adam?
I mean, I think it's just one of those games. I think, like I said, if it was a one-off, I'd feel a bit better. But the fact that we've lost 3 away games in a row, including St Mirren and Kilmarnock, is really tough. I think the big thing against Killie was that some of our better players, like Harry Milne, just weren't up to their normal standards. So it was an off day. I think it's one of those ones you just have to learn from, and I think we'll get better. And it's the last of the games, hopefully, without Shankland and Devlin. So we've come through a tough spell. So I think things are going to get better now with a couple of guys, some of the guys getting back from injury in the next few games. So I think we just have to write it off and just hope that things change over the next few games.
I mean, assuming Shankland does come back and Devlin comes back for this game at the weekend against Dundee, it's kind of objective met, because we always said the main thing was just remaining at the top before they came back. And I guess that's what we've done, again, assuming they come back for this game. What the problem is, as you've mentioned there, was the away form, but also just we talked about these upcoming 4 games thing. 12 points isn't at all unrealistic. Now the best we can get is 9 points, and it effectively, we kind of have to work on the assumption. Like, I do think Rangers and Celtic will drop points, but we can't rely on that. We have to assume they're going to win each and every one of their games. There's just that margin of error from us has now just gone at the first hurdle. Basically, we've now got 9 points and kind of have to play for those 9 points. Now you can't afford to drop anymore. You look at the Motherwell game, there's points potentially, you think, oh, maybe you could get a draw there. That'd still leave us with 10 out of the 4. Or Livy, that can be a bit of a difficult one to play away to. Again, maybe, that would be the one where you drop points. But now, the first game out of the 4, we have dropped them. So that, to me, is a pretty significant issue. And it does also change the atmosphere for Tynecastle, you'd have to imagine. For the Aberdeen game, everyone was well up for it. It's not just, it is also because it's Aberdeen. We always seem to have a good atmosphere for that. But now it'll be one of those games when we play Dundee where there'll be a nervous crowd. The players kind of only have themselves to blame after that performance against Kilmarnock. But to me, that's another little added negative from losing, knowing that if we don't win that game, we'll almost certainly not be top of the Premiership, or we'll be sharing that top spot. However, the good thing is we will be the first team to play out the 3. So Hearts will be kicking off at 3 p.m. and then Rangers shortly afterwards. They're playing against Aberdeen. Stephen Robinson's going to be taking the helm, which does change things a bit. I was, I had Aberdeen totally written off for that game in my head, but with Stephen Robinson, you might think there's a chance there. He's definitely been, when he was with St Mirren, he was a manager capable of getting results against Rangers. So there is definitely room for, opportunity there for Rangers to drop points. Celtic, they're playing away to Dundee United. They went 2-up against Dundee at the weekend. However, they blew it and in injury time conceded 2. That could be a game that Jim Goodwin is going to be starting concerned about his future if he doesn't get something from it. How are we feeling then ahead of the Dundee game?
I feel pretty confident about it about the Dundee game. I think out of the 3 games remaining before the split, that's the one I'm most confident about. I just hope we can get off to a good start. And obviously, I'd take another 1-0 win, but I'd really, more than ever before, I'd like us to just go out there and win 2 or 3-0 and have a more comfortable game, get everyone on side, and just not have a really nervous match. But I do think, especially if we get Shankland and Devon back, I do think we have to go into that game being confident, because recent form suggests that's the kind of game we'll win. So I'm actually pretty confident about that one. I'm more worried about what comes next.
Yeah.
But I'm confident we'll win it. I'd take a 1-0 win if you offered it to me, but I would love us to just get a confident win we're not sitting there unbelievably nervous for the last 10 minutes.
Trunter, Adam touched on something there that I think is really important, is just not having another slow start. The Kilmarnock game, you yet again had one of those slow starts, and we just never seemed to pick up from it because we conceded quite early on. This is why I'm thinking Altina seems the obvious option. You want someone who's going to start the team and be part of a team that's going to really start on the front foot. He's exactly the kind of player you want for that. What are your thoughts? And is there anyone else you'd like to see start for this upcoming game?
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely Altina, but I think these kind of like a tweak like that, you want the guys to be playing without fear. What I really worry right now about particularly the Kilmarnock result is that like fear really is the mind killer when it comes down to this point of the season. Like we were saying, we've lost that really like comfy margin that we had. We're still in front, and I just hope that everyone can still feel that we are still the league leaders. Let's play with some confidence. Let's go on the front foot. Let's attack. Let's not be conceding one or two and then scraping a draw at the end. And like we really need to go in confident. It need to play some ball, man. We can't be just scraping through, because that is going to affect the squeaky bum time right in the last block of games. That's just what I worried, like heads going down and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just looking at the Dundee team, Murray seems to have completely gone off the Martin Boyle. And Congreve is the one who I still think is quite, he can present a bit of a danger. But the one I'm actually genuinely worried about is Danda, who seems to have got a new lease of life. Oh, wait,
I
did we
mean,
sell?
he won't be able to play anyway because he's on
Oh, that's
loan.
right. He's still on loan with us, isn't he? I
Let's keep
completely.
that in. No edits, please.
No, I'm keeping that in because this just reminds me. This is why we need to bring back Loan Watch, right? To keep me. But
Damn
yeah,
it, John.
yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, I'm less concerned about him. Maybe
There
he'll
you
be
go. That's
cheering.
another positive, mate.
Yeah, there we go. That's us won the league.
Yeah. Boom. Having said that, buddy, John Jules out for Killie. There's me saying last week what a huge bonus that is for us. But oh well. Yeah. So looking at the team, is there anything you're concerned about with that Dundee team? And do you think, what do you think the scoreline will be after you've given your thoughts about the Dundee team?
I mean, the concern, I guess, is they've picked up a bit recently with some decent results, but I honestly think, I actually think it might be like Aberdeen. We go out with a fast start, we get a goal in the first half. I'm gonna go for 2-0 Hearts, and I'm gonna go for a comfortable win. I got a feeling. I mean, I think Shankland will come back in. Shankland will start instead of Kabori. Alton will start instead of Steinbender. It'll be a more attacking performance, and I think we'll have a positive start and we'll win 2-0. And Shankland will score and Braga will score.
Nice. All right, Trunner, what are your thoughts then? Anything you're concerned about the Dundee team? And afterwards, if you can give me your predictions.
I worry about nerves, like I was saying there, just about losing a bit of that cushion that we had. But hopefully, I mean, you've got to imagine that McInnes will have them fired up, and the possibility of Shanks coming back. Hopefully there'll be some positivity in the air. I still think, we'll do good things, but be shaky. I think it's going to be a 2-1.
Mm.
I think Altino will start. I think Hawks is going to get one from a set piece, and I think Braga will get one. I think we'll win it, and hopefully we can use it as something to build on. Yeah, I think it'll be a better second half. I think it'll be cagey in the first one, and then we'll get going.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to imagine us scoring a load of goals because it's just not something we've done all season. However, we have Dundee do seem to be one of these teams we've been pretty positive against. So I am going to predict a 3-0 because why the fuck not? I think we're going to see a reaction from this team. It's going to be a rip-roaring performance from Mark Leonard in particular. He's going to get the scoring underway. And yeah, I think Shanks will score. I think he'll be a half-time substitute, actually. I don't think he'll get the full game. Or perhaps maybe he'll start and get like an hour or something like that. Well, either way, I'm going to put him on the score sheet. And I think McCart is going to get himself onto the score sheet as well. So 3-0 will be my prediction. So this weekend it'll be the Jambos against the Jobbies. Hopefully it will see us back to winning ways. Either way, we will be here in hopefully a more positive mood. Until then, do join us on our socials. Let us know what you think. If there's anything you'd like us to bring up or talk about, you know where to find us. You can get us on heartsonsleevespodcast@outlook.com. You can also get us on Instagram, you can get us on X, and you can also find us on Blue Sky as well. Do feel free to send us a message on any of these. Okay, have a good weekend, everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.